Meet Serena, your virtual companion for emotional support. The ultimate safe space to discuss your thoughts, your fears, and the ups and downs of daily life. Start your free trial today at serena.chat.
Am I the asshole for refusing to give up my bed for my GF's visiting brother? I, 22 male, live with my 20 female girlfriend, and her 18 male brother is coming to visit for a few days. My girlfriend has asked me to sleep on the sofa whilst he's visiting, so that he can sleep in my spot next to her. Yes, she will be sleeping in the bed next to him. Apparently it's normal in her family. She is Dutch, so maybe it's normal in NL? We live in the UK and I grew up always intuitively knowing that a couple's bedroom, and especially their bed, is a very private place, and inviting anyone else to sleep there is to be avoided. There are exceptions such as offering for an older parent or even kids. In my opinion, her fit, healthy, 18-years-old brother can sleep on the couch, not in my, but more importantly our, bed, and especially not with my girlfriend there. Of course I know there wouldn't be anything sexual, of course not, but it still feels like it would be an intrusion into our relationship. I'm more shocked than annoyed at my girlfriend about this. I've explained that such a thing would feel like she was disrespecting my role as her partner by violating that privacy. After a brief heated conversation, she begrudgingly said she would try and borrow our flatmate's air mattress. Again, I'm still shocked she was willing to offer my place in bed with her before any alternative such as this. For context, it's important to note that my girlfriend and I are actually in the process of breaking up. This is besides the point, but I thought I should mention it. It's an completely amicable breakup, a joint decision so that we can both do the things we need to in life whilst we are still young. In fact, we are separating now so that our relationship isn't damaged, and we can potentially pick it up again in the future. We decided to stay together until I move out. Will be after her brother visits, in order to avoid going through the breakup whilst still living together, as this would turn our friendship sour. We are actually still in love, and get on very well usually, which makes this scenario even more tricky. Her asking me to sleep on the couch, however, seems not to be motivated at all by our planned separation, and entirely by her brother. She claimed to have asked me about her brother sleeping in the bed previously, and that I agreed in passing. Although I don't remember this, it may be true. Most likely because I didn't fully understand at the time, because I wouldn't have thought she would even ask such a thing. As an extra kick in the teeth, this argument about her brother staying happened today on what should be our second anniversary. Anyway, am I the asshole? Edit. I asked my girlfriend and she said it's nothing to do with our relationship, it's because she thought it was the right thing to do and I would want to offer anyway? I'm not sure if her brother is aware of her idea for sleeping arrangements. He is a nice guy and I get on well with all of her family. My girlfriend has always been close with her brothers growing up, and she said they shared hotel rooms and stuff, which is normal as kids, but after puberty it's weird, and I think that's how most people see it. I told her I was concerned she didn't see how that was weird, and she accused me of calling her a perv. I would move out now if I could, but I moved a long way to live with my GF, meaning I don't have any family or close friends I could move to for the meantime. We decided to try and keep a level of relationship until then so that we can prepare and more importantly maintain a level of respect between us whilst I was still living here. TBH, it's the best choice I've got. RN. My original vote was not the asshole, but if you're in the process of breaking up, she may want a little space. Not the asshole, that's just really weird. Why can't her brother stay on the couch? Also, what a weird thing this whole breakup you guys have set up. Basically you guys just want to fuck around with other people from what I assume. But to each their own, I guess. I wouldn't expect the relationship to be picked up again in the future though. Feels like it would be an intrusion into our relationship. She was disrespecting my role as her partner. It's important to note my girlfriend and I are actually in the process of breaking up. I move out. There is no relationship. You're no longer her partner. You're moving out. You are the asshole and sleep on the couch where you should already be. Like, this is just as bizarre as her wanting to share a bed with her teenage brother. Why are you still sharing your bed with your ex? You've broken up and are in the process of moving out. It's not about being Dutch, it's about you guys breaking up. She's trying to put what I would think is healthy space between you and her, because it's no longer your spot if you're broken up. I can see why she would want space from you in that way, and why it would probably feel more comfortable if you slept in the next room, and I think you should. I think you're being awfully possessive for essentially being her ex. Edit. Typos. Am I the asshole for saying to a girl, "It's not my fault you're fatter than me"? I, 36M, I'm a musician in a pretty popular cover band in my city. I am also skinny at 6 female 130 pounds. This is relevant. One of the venues we play regularly has a server. We'll call her Cassie, mid-20, SF, who's working most dates we play there. She's cool, and we've been semi-friends since I joined the band about 2.5 years ago. We do joke around with each other and take part in non-flirty, witty banter and telling jokes or funny stories. Over the last 6 months she's referred to me as scrawny on 3 separate occasions. One of those occasions was when I injured my ankle while loading in at that venue, and it was significantly swollen by the end of the night. I was sitting down, looking at my ankle when she walked by, and I asked her if my ankle looked swollen to her. She didn't really look and just said, "I can't tell, you're so scrawny." Now this past Saturday, as we finished with the gig and were loading out, I was walking in her direction as she was walking towards me. When she got close I did one of those fake lunging motions at her to make her flinch, and I really scared her. She kinda yelped, laughed, then walked up to the husband of one of the band members, who's also a good friend of mine, and gestured towards me saying, "That scrawny bitch over there almost made me pee my pants." Granted, I may be the asshole for scaring her like that, but believe me, we both partake in little pranks like that on each other. So when she was nearby shortly after that, I asked her in a no-attitude and non-confrontational way, "Hey, why do you keep referring to me as scrawny?" Her response, "Well, that's because you are scrawny." I said, "Well, it's not my fault you're fatter than me." Yes, I purposefully said that, knowing damn well how that sounds. No, she isn't fat. At all. Not that it really matters. But since it had been the 3rd time she's used that term on me, unprovoked until this most recent time, I figured it was kind of the time to retaliate. Once I said what I said, her face dropped and she responded with, "You rephrase that right now." I said, no." She walked away. Instead of continuing with how we resolved this, I figured I would just leave it as is and ask, am I the asshole? Most people, including my girlfriend, I've told her on the fence, and I've kinda lost sleep over this. I am not this kind of person, but sometimes I can go too far when I think I'm sticking up for myself. Edit. I do accept being the bigger jerk in this scenario. And for the record, not long after that interaction both Cassie and I talked and apologized to one another, and things are just fine. However, calling each other names or making mean comments was never really a part of the dynamic between any of us band guys or bar staff. And I guess where I grew up, scrawny was never anything less than an insult, so I didn't think I'd actually have to establish boundaries with words like that. And me, lunging at her. Yes, that was stupid, I won't deny that, but some of the comments regarding that are just nuts. Anyway, I will definitely learn from this and use my words for more good than harm. I am not the creepy, asshole, weirdo some of you said I was. And #X200B. Everyone sucks here. You could have avoided being an arsehole though by asking her to stop calling you scrawny first, instead you just escalated the situation. She was body shaming you. Not cool at all. You get a pass from me for returning the disfavor by body shaming her back, though using a more adult response would have been better. But dude, you are more than 20 years too old for lunge scares, and indicating it's part of an ongoing practice is not the saving grace you think it is. Flirt like an adult. She was rude by calling you scrawny, and you calling her fat is also rude. I wouldn't want to be friends with either of you honestly. You are the asshole. You could have just asked her to stop, instead of letting it go while getting madder and then retaliating on a sudden whim with the same sort of childish name-calling. You could even have made her feel bad when you asked by pointing out calling you scrawny as cruel and body-shaming just as much as calling someone fatty. If hurting her back was your goal, as opposed to just drawing a boundary against being called scrawny. Like an adult. When a relationship includes banter and light insults, communication of where the line is the first time it's crossed is even more important, because once you've laughed about it and allowed it, it becomes part of the standard repertoire. Everyone sucks here. You went for tit for tat, you both were rude. She had a comeback coming, but you didn't have to phrase it as fatter. Would I be the asshole if I didn't drive my wife's friend to the airport? Background. We live in a country with a great public transportation system, Scandinavia. Our city is 25 minutes away from the airport with car, and said friend, F26-ish, lives about 15 minutes out of town. I've driven her once before at 4 a.m. and my wife came along with us, but we just drove her to the city center so she could take the bus to the bigger city, 45 Moline. to then take the bus to the airport, which from there would take 15 minutes. She sent about €50 for our troubles, but I told my wife to send the money back. Present day. So basically I, 27 male, was just chilling, getting some late night movies in and feeling kinda restless since my sleeping schedule was fucked up when my wife told me that her friend just asked her if I'd mind driving her to the airport. Now I was inclined to say no for a few different reasons. 1. I don't actually know this person. Like, I've met a few times, but we have never actually spoken apart, a greeting here and there when she has come along after picking my wife up from whatever activity so she could get a ride to the main city bus terminal. 2. TBH, I kinda CBA driving her at 4 in the morning because it's 4 in the morning. 3. The biggest reason, however, is that my wife would work the morning shift the next day and she wouldn't be able to tag along. The issue is I don't want to be alone in a car with a member of the opposite sex as a Muslim. Some might see this as me being full of myself or being narcissistic, but it is not really about that. I don't want to be in a situation where any type of misunderstanding or misconception could happen. That plus outside of work and school I don't really see the point of talking to another female unless a member of my family, a longtime friend, an acquaintance, or just out of courtesy, politeness of being talked to. You get the gist. I expect this from my wife, and so the same rules should apply to me. My wife doesn't really care and said that it's up to me. I told her that I don't really want to be alone with one of her friends without her present, and she said fine and told her friend that I couldn't drive her because this was very last minute since it was already 11 at night and that I was already supposed to drive my wife as well as my mother to work, which meant I couldn't drive her. She responded with a, "Does your husband drive you every time or just this time?" My wife said every time. She then looked at me and said, "The entitlement. Now the thing is I know getting to the airport is a bit of a pain, especially as she lives outside of our city, and although we have a great public transportation system it is kinda meh at that time of the hour and if you are not already in the city. Which would make her life even harder since she already lives outside of our city, and this has me feeling a little guilty since it can be dangerous for a girl to be alone at that time of night and I could have easily just driven her if I set my principles aside. So would I be the asshole if I didn't drive my wife's friend to the airport at 4 a.m.? Edit. This was over text and my wife was exclaimed the entitlement about her friend. Not the asshole have her arrange a taxi like the rest of the civilized world does. I can't imagine asking someone I love for a 4 a.m. favor, much less a casual acquaintance. Not the asshole. How long has she known she had this trip coming? And she waits until 11 p.m. the night before to ask for a ride? That's just rude. She's the one acting entitled. No is a complete sentence, she needs to hear it. Not the asshole they got Uber over there in Scandinavia, right? Not the asshole. Entitlement is thinking someone should do you a favor and drive you to the airport at 4 a.m. This woman is nuts. Not the asshole. Actually, for only 2 reasons you listed. First, this woman is an adult and should have figured out how to get to the airport way before this. Second is assumption about you driving your wife. I don't care about your religion or your principles. It was 4 a.m. and this person is making assumptions that you're going to drop everything to drive her without any notice. I'm a woman, I'm not a Muslim, and there is no way I would have driven anyone to the airport with that notice. The nerve. Would I be the asshole if I didn't invite my cousin's wife to my wedding? Throwaway so that family don't see. My fiancé, Sam 33M, and I, 30M, have been together for 9 years and are planning our wedding. I have a large family who all live interstate and we are inviting most of them. My cousin, David, 25M, is a born-again Christian. He married Tanya, 26F, 3 years ago. They invited my sister and me but not of our long-term partners. They said they had a no ring, no bring rule. Sam has always made an effort with everyone in my family, even Tanya. Tanya has never acknowledged Sam at any family events, B-days, Xmas, etc., and avoids both of us. Lots of microaggressions from her but never outright homophobic things. My cousins have commented on it but my parents are not around when it happens so they have not noticed it. My sister's boyfriend wasn't invited to the wedding either and I knew they might be limited on numbers due to our large family. I spoke with Sam and he was happy for me to go to the wedding with my sister to support David because we were close growing up. David and Tania's wedding ceremony was very fire and brimstone. Same-sex marriage had recently been legalized in our country and they explicitly chose to say that, although the law may now recognize other kinds of marriages, we only recognize true marriage in the eyes of God, one man and one woman, as is natural and meant to be. There were a few other digs about LGBTQ+ people. My sister and another cousin leant over to check that I was okay. I was hurt but didn't let it show. At the reception, some friends of the couple implied that our partners weren't invited because we were living in sin. My sister equals sex before marriage, me equals gay. This was never explicitly said to us by David or Tanya, but Tanya ignored me all night and specifically came over to interrupt my congratulations to David and tell him not to speak to me. I congratulated her. She glared at me then turned away. Tanya went out of her way to be actively hostile towards me and several people commented on it. At one point, I slipped outside and cried. I decided I wouldn't let her ruin my time with my family and spent the evening dancing with my grandmother and cousins. Sam and I got engaged this year. Neither of us feel comfortable having Tanya at the wedding. We invited the whole family to our engagement party but David, Tanya never RSVP'd. David's mum told us that he was busy that day. We want to invite David to our wedding. Neither Sam nor I want to invite Tanya. My parents are concerned about us not inviting her but are trying to understand. They are worried about family fallout. They suggest I reach out to David and explain that we only want people who are comfortable celebrating us there on our wedding day. They also think that if we invite Tanya, she wouldn't come anyway but Sam and I don't want to give her the power to say no, or worse, attend in protest. I am aware that David may not come if we don't invite Tanya and that would be okay. Would I be the asshole if I only invited David to our wedding when all my other cousins' partners are invited? Not the asshole, but why is David invited anyway? He married a homophobe, therefore he is also homophobic. He wouldn't put up with her crap if he didn't agree with her views. WNBTA. Congrats on your wedding. I mean, it's generous you even want to invite David considering he's an enabling of her behavior. And, stand up proud on this one. She wants to actively target you, then you have nothing to be worried about. I absolutely hate family who cares more about fallout than, recognizing you are entitled to not be on the receiving end of bigotry on your wedding day. Invite neither. It is not petty. You are following their wishes that they do not want to be involved or engaged with a same-sex couple. Not the asshole. But just skip them both. Even if you invite them, I can't see them coming. They have made it pretty clear what they think of your relationship. Only have family that love and support you and your partner. Not the asshole. Tanya is a homophobe who can't even bother to be civil to you. You're already prepared for David to not come, so you've got realistic expectations.